can do it. Dream big. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. Feel good. I can do it. Feel good. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. Joy, joy, joy. It's all there for me. Joy, joy, joy. Joy is the key. Be well. I can do it.
All right. Thank you,
Be well.
everyone.
I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. Have fun. I can do it.
Okay, let's get started. Thank you, Mark, for that wonderful music. And if you've never been to an Abraham-Hicks workshop, they play that at the beginning of every workshop. So it's kind of a corny song, but everyone knows it, and is like, gets into it and gets up and sings and dances. So we thought it would be fun to start with that. Okay, so lots of familiar faces on here and some new faces. Nice to see you. If I haven't met you, my name is Amanda Towne, obviously. It's right there on the screen. And I am in Miami Beach. I've been following Abraham. I found them, I think, in 2017. And it really has changed my life. I was on, the spiritual path even before then, but then that opened up my world to something, completely different. And when I learned about Abraham-Hicks, I could not get enough. I wanted to find other people to talk to about it. I wanted to go to all the workshops. And so there's a couple years that I have been to every cruise. I think this cruise was number 12 or 13 for me. It's so much fun. I've met a lot of these people on here on cruises, and the more you go, it just feels like the more fun that you have every time. And I also do coaching with individuals. I use all the principles of law of attraction and helping you release resistance around emotions. Emotions are everything. The first manifestation is the feeling, and our feelings and emotions are our guidance system. So I do one-on-one, and I also do a mastermind group. So if you would like more information on that, reach out to me. But this is just meant to be a fun discussion. As I see, a lot of these people have been on this last cruise. Some of you may not have been on the cruise or been on cruises before. And it's just fun to share in the energy, share little stories from the cruise. Got lots of people still coming in. And Mark, I met through Prem and Bob a couple of months before the cruise. And so we started having little vibe up calls before the cruise of, wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be fun? And we were doing that for a couple of weeks. Well, actually, Mark didn't find out he was going on the cruise till very, very shortly before the cruise. So Mark, I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, welcome everyone. And if you want to come onto video and show your beautiful faces, we'd love to see you. And it makes it even more fun that we're all here. Excellent. Thanks for coming. Yeah, I found Abraham in 2009 and was really into a bunch of law of attraction groups, and then got away from it, got jaded. And I saw back in November, popping up on Facebook, Abraham live in Miami, instantly enrolled, met Prem and Bob, who led me to a mastermind, who led me to Amanda, got me excited to go on the cruise. The cruise was sold out. a month ahead of time, put it out to different people. And then about 16 days before the cruise, I got invited to a WhatsApp chat. Someone was selling their ticket, which was significant because I was 28th on the waiting list. They sold it to me and there I was on the cruise. So pretty cool manifestation already. And Amanda and I, the week of the cruise, we would call each other up and raise our vibration by going back and forth, talking about what we wanted to manifest on the cruise, saying, isn't it nice? Wouldn't it be nice? And we got so playful, we got into all sorts of fun places and we instantly felt better. And some of those things unfolded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for sure we had fun.
Did. Including, one of the things was I got in a hot seat. That was one of the manifestations that unfolded on the cruise.
Yeah.
More to share about that later.
Okay. So maybe like by your digital hand or something, how many people were on this cruise? Alan, Nisha, Corey, Christina, Catherine, Michael, Padma. Oh, awesome. Noreen. And Noreen's another neighbor. So we have like a lot of people here in South Florida that are Abers. So that's awesome. Bob and Prem are in Delray. Noreen's in Boca. Mark's in Boca. I'm in Miami. So awesome. And how many of you have been on a cruise in the past? Okay, lots of you. Awesome.
Amanda, can I ask a question?
Sure.
How many people hate raising their hand?
Only
How many
you.
people like raising their hand? Okay.
Me.
Didn't play as well as other questions, but it felt inspired to come and share it.
Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna start off just sharing a few of my favorite highlights from the cruise, and then Mark will share and talk about his hot seat, and then we'll just, it'll just be an open discussion. And it's just meant to have fun. And so I changed my Zoom background, Amandarella. My roommate on the cruise was Barbara. And she said, I was going around talking to people and I was like, my roommate's Amanda. They're like, oh, you mean Amandarella? She said, I didn't know that was your name. I was like, yes, I am Amandarella. I got that nickname several years ago and it just stuck. I really like it. So it's a fun thing that I like to use. And one of my favorite things about this cruise was the new ship. In all the other celebrity cruises, it's the same ship or they're very similar. And this was a new ship. So it was a similar layout, but completely different. There was this whole Eden area that was like this magical garden. And we had different dining options. There were 4 different main dining rooms instead of 1. There was a beautiful retreat area for suite guests. It was lovely. And so next year, I'm excited. The Panama cruise for next year is going to be on the same ship. So that's going to be an 11-day cruise that goes to Panama, Colombia, and some other fun places. Yeah, I'm already signed up for that. So what else? Oh, one of my other, it's always fun to notice the synchronicities on these cruises because once you get in this vessel on the water, so there's energy is moving so fast and it just feels like synchronicities are bam, bam, bam. And one of my favorite days was actually a sea day. We were having a lovely breakfast that morning. Nisha was there and Corey and Barbara. We were just having a wonderful conversation. And soon we were like, oh, we have an excursion. We need to get off the ship and meet up for our excursion. And it was a private excursion. And so we all went our separate ways. I dilly-dallied. I ran into another friend in the coffee shop. And I was like, okay, I'm going to send them a message and I'm going to meet up with them. And on the way, I was calling, no one's answering. I'm like, oh no, I missed the excursion. But I was like, okay, I'm going to let it go. I'm just going to walk slowly. I'll go into town. I'll walk around by myself. And as soon as I had let that go, I looked over and I saw Esther standing there. It was just her and one other person from her group. And I could tell she was waiting for her thing. And I was like, Esther, do you mind if I get a picture with you? And I have to say also, Keitsa, Dominic's wife, is my inspiration for that. She said, oh, I always ask for a picture. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to ask for a picture. And she was so gracious, and we had a little chat. And then I looked up, and the other people that were on the excursion were there, and they came around the corner. I'm like, oh, I didn't miss it. And then they all got to get a picture with Esther. And the rest of our day, it was just flowed so lovely. We went to the most beautiful beaches. We had a lovely lunch, got back to the ship. I had a wonderful dinner with a friend that night that it was just synchronicity. She was in a cruise and hadn't been to Luminae yet. I'm like, oh my gosh, girl, we've got to go. And so we had the best dinner. That whole day just flowed so beautifully. And one of my other favorite, my favorite hot seat from this cruise, and there's many, and there are many takeaways, but probably my favorite hot seat from this cruise was this sweet, sweet lady. She got up in the hot seat, and I would say she was probably in her 80s. And she said, I'm ready to transition. I'm ready to go. I don't want to do this anymore. And Abraham was so sweet with her. They said, well, we don't want to talk you out of it. Transitioning is amazing. Like, you're just going to go up into non-physical, and you're going to release all resistance. It's going to feel amazing. So we don't want to talk you out of that. But the thing is, you need to, it's like anything. And they always say the answer to every question is the same. You have to be satisfied with where you are and eager for more. So they kept telling her, well, aren't there things you're enjoying here? You need to, again, be in appreciation for where you are. And she just was like, no. I'm just not really enjoying life anymore. I'm just ready to go. And so they just, they kept trying to talk her into, like, let's talk about some things that you do enjoy now, like not trying to talk you out of it, but it's the vibration of releasing that resistance. And then they got into, well, have you ever had a standing ovation? And people started standing up, clapping. And Abraham was over there just like, come on, more. And I don't remember how long it lasted, but just the energy, the noise, the vibration just kept going higher and higher and higher. And it was so moving. And they said, well, what about now? And you could tell her vibration had shifted. And they were like, okay, not on this ship. Like, you're not going to transition now, but it could be soon. So it was really, really sweet. It was so touching. And so many people just had tears in their eyes and just were so supportive of her. And I'll save some other hot seat question or things, because I know actually there's quite a few people on here that had hot seats on this time. But another favorite thing with the synchronicities, Nisha and I were walking around after the last workshop, and we were like so in the flow. We would start talking about someone that was in the hot seat. We ran into him in the casino, the guy that talked about playing roulette. We ran into him. We would mention someone else. We would run into them within minutes. The whole night was just synchronicity after synchronicity. We would talk about something and bam, it happened. And that is the thing of, it can be that easy, and noticing it and really appreciating it, really staying in that vibration of it. And that's also part of this discussion, being in the vibration of it, sharing these stories, vibing it up. Oh, one other little piece of a hot seat I'll share too. There was a girl in the hot seat, Mary Jane. She goes on many of the cruises. I think she's from Louisiana. But she said she was at dinner and had the most amazing pasta dish. And so she was just completely present, enjoying this pasta dish, just noticing all of the things about it, the texture, the flavors, everything. And she said, I'm sure it was more than 68 seconds. And is that all that I need to do? I don't need to focus on, those things that I want to manifest and list all those things. And they said, no, you just did it. That's all you need to do. And that was such a great reminder of, keep it simple. Just find simple things to appreciate, and fully be in the moment, loving it, enjoying it, and really, and we say we want all of the things and the manifestations, but what we really want is to feel good and to be happy and enjoy life. And that's how you can enjoy life in the moment. And all of those things that are in your vortex will just pop in, flow in, when you're in that vibration of it. So that was another really fun moment. Okay, Mark, tell us about your hot seat, or whatever you want to tell us about.
Yeah, two stories I'd love to share with you. Thanks, Amanda. The first one was a breakthrough with my body, and it was getting on a catamaran in St. Thomas and having a great time. That was significant for me because previously I had motion sickness with boats of that size. In fact, my former girlfriend always wanted me to get on a boat or a catamaran. We lived in Maui. There was great opportunity, and each time. At this time, though, I was determined to get into the turquoise water. It was calling me, and determined to snorkel with the turtles. And that got me to sign up for the catamaran, thinking I'll just deal with whatever comes up. Sat in the back of the boat because the captain said that's the most stable. But soon enough, I noticed I was feeling good. And next I'm walking around the catamaran. It was a breakthrough experience. My brain was saying, wow, we can do this. Abraham says it's easy when you know how to do it. It's like, I know how to be on boats and have a great time. And I live in South Florida where there's a lot of boats. So it opens me up to so many things. The second one I want to share is about the hot seat. And if you don't remember, I went in and I asked Abraham to do a rampage on romantic love. I became single last year after a 10.5-year relationship. I had gotten away from the vibration of romantic love, and I wanted to come back into it and bring my new amazing partner closer to me. As Amanda said, we had been rampaging. And in our rampages, I start to get silly and I say, and I'm in the hot seat. No, I'm in the hot seat with my new romantic partner. I'm in the hot seat with my new romantic partner and we're kissing. Like, this is the places we go in that high vibration to tell the universe what you want. Doesn't matter if no one's ever done it before. There's always a first for everything. I share that because though I wasn't in the hot seat with my romantic partner, I was in the hot seat with a non-physical being called Abraham, who then, through Esther, held my hand. I get goose pimples now as I say that because Livy's clapping. If you've been around Abraham for a while, you know that is a rare occasion. And as I think about it now, I think it was because Amanda and I were rampaging. And I was getting into that physical sensation of being of that feeling in the hot seat. And then it happened as it often does, in a surprise and delight way. The other things I want to share about the hot seat is when I got in there, I'm ready for a rampage, but I wasn't. My vibration was too low. And Abraham says, don't go into details on a topic unless you're in a good place. And there's that moment where like Abraham's calling me out in front of 850 people saying, you're not there yet. I was like, okay, Abraham. And Abraham starts to help me get up there and get closer. And then I try to speak. And Abraham says, don't ruin it by talking. Which I take with me now. Though I overthink less, because I remember Abraham said, don't ruin it by talking if you're not in a good place. And there was a certain point where shortly after that, I just really sat back in the chair and I settled in for the ride. And that was magnificent, because I knew Abraham had it from there. As they started the rampage, I'm feeling it deeply, and so much, I'm feeling it so deeply that I start to have tears down my face. And now here's another moment, knowing I'm on camera. How do I feel about showing that side? But I love showing my heart. I love showing my sweetness. I love showing that a man can feel that deeply. And allowed it to flow, and it got deeper and deeper. That's how deeply I was feeling it. So since then, I don't remember a lot of what Abraham said, but I remember how it felt. And I know that I'm closer to this partner than ever before. And I now use words like deep mutual romantic love is inevitable for me. I'm using words I didn't use before. Last night I had dinner with Bob and Prem, and they told me their coming together love story. So those are a couple things that I take away from this beautiful Abraham cruise that I didn't know I was going to be on until 16 days before. Thanks for listening.
And I want to add something to your story too. They also said, you will notice more and more people showing affection towards each other, holding hands, like that they cannot not do it. And I don't remember everything they said, but you know, a few of the other people, I know Nisha and I were like, oh my gosh, it's so true. Look at those people and look at that couple. Like, look at them showing affection. Like, you could just see so much love everywhere. And that was the thing too, of appreciating it wherever you see it. And you can bask in that energy of it. Even if you're not the one holding the hand or receiving or giving that affection, you can notice it. And the more you notice it, it's like you're in that vibration of it.
Yeah, that really speaks to me, Amanda. Thanks for sharing that, because affection, touch is one of my love languages. So thank you for sharing. Oh, I did have a date recently, and she reflected to me afterwards this combination I brought. And one of the things she said was sweet. And I love showing my sweetness. So I reflected that. It was reflected back to me and felt that good. And now we're going to turn it over to you, right, Amanda?
Oh, thank you for sharing that. It was very nice. Okay, another fun synchronicity from the boat. Alan Kennedy is a good friend of mine from Charlotte, and we've known each other, oh my gosh, maybe 13 years now. And he told me on the boat, he used to think I was weird because I was into Abraham. And he finally started checking it out, you know, coming to some of my discussions a couple of years ago, and now is fully in it. And this was his second cruise. And it was the last day of the workshops. You know, we are like hardcore. I like to go sit in line. You know, it's part of the vibing up beforehand. It's the conversations before the workshops. And I like to sit up front. And so we had gone and gotten our seats and then went to have lunch. We're walking back down right before the workshop. I run into Alan and he's like, ha ha ha, did you get me a seat? I'm like, yeah, fat chance. And then so I go down to my seat and I found out we did have an extra seat. And so we're like, okay, well, who's gonna sit here? I look up and Alan is coming down the stairs and I'm like, Alan, this is your seat. Second row, great seat, full on view. And then Alan had a wonderful hot seat. Do you wanna tell us about your hot seat?
Amanda, you need to unmute people.
Oh, okay. Um, dun, dun. Can you unmute now? Okay, there.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, just to add to that a little bit, Amanda, that the way you said it is exactly the way it happened. And it's kind of weird because on the last cruise, I'm a newbie to this. I've only been into this 2, maybe 3 years at the most. When she first mentioned it, I knew Amanda. I've known Amanda for 10 years, maybe.
At least, yeah.
Yeah,
Since 2013.
I met her at my house in Wigan, North Carolina, back many years ago at a party that I had. But anyway, I always thought she was a cool chick. You know, she's just cool, had a cool vibe about her, you know. And the people that are doing this, that are kind of into this, there's a certain aura, or it's a vibration that they have, and it's a calming vibration, and it's just a lot of smiles, a lot of sensibility and connections and this and that. And I thought Amanda was just a cool girl. And but then later on, she started getting into this weird stuff. And I said, what in the heck? So we chatted a little bit about that and this and that. And then she turned me on to law of attraction, which I've heard of, but not in the Abraham-Hicks context. So I got that big thick book and I read it because I think you recommended it.
Mhm.
And I read it, and at first I said, wait a minute, who is Abraham-Hicks? Who's the author? Who is he? When I figured out who Abraham-Hicks was, it kind of, wait a minute. This is, so my point is, now I'm sold. I'm totally in. And I was a skeptic. I'm a pharmacist by trade, scientific background, and I'm looking for things with Esther and the whole thing, all the writings, all the videos that I'm watching. I'm looking for red flags. I'm looking for places where she contradicts herself. You know, could she just be somebody could have a special talent to just the gift of gab or whatever and lead a bunch of people. You know, that's where what do you call them? These things where religious sects come in. You know, and they do all this kind of crazy stuff. Anyway, so I thought I was looking for stuff, but I didn't find anything, and analyzing it very carefully. But she says the same thing to everyone. One of my favorite parts of everything that she did on the cruise was she said, you know, there's only one. There's a lot of you guys have a lot of questions. You got so many questions, but you know, there's only one answer to everything. And that's when it kind of hit me. There is only one answer. And but anyway, but I loved the fact that she, you know, I had all these questions last time, and I wasn't in the back. I was sitting up at a guy. Because always, you know, I got time. I can't afford 2 hours to sit there in line. But then there's another thing to that too. Like you said, Amanda, people connect and they talk and they share and there's a vibration going on with them, and I love that. I didn't think about that until I think you mentioned it or somebody else mentioned it. But I said, you know, there's a point to that. And then, so I was always sitting in the back and I had all these questions. What is all this? And I'm writing them down. And I raised my hand. No, she never called me. I was sitting up in the rafters. And so this cruise, I said, you know, I'm gonna get up there. I just want to ask. I got a lot of questions to ask. And then I made that joke to Amanda. Hey, save me a seat in the front row. Well, it wasn't the front row, it was the second row. And she did it. And, you know, and she said a bunch of people, and I just raised my hand sheepishly because, you know, I don't know. Why would she pick me? Some people think, why pick me? But I just looked at her now. She pointed right to me, and I got up, and I was able to. But, you know, there is something to her. her eyes, her gaze, I guess, and Mark may attribute that too. There's something about the way she looks. When I said I had 15 questions, you know what I expected? Well, we might have time for one or two of them. Give me your best. No, she didn't. She said, okay, shoot. She just said, give me all. And I love that. She didn't limit me. She didn't say what she didn't. And I did ask at the very beginning, the thing you remember is no question is off bounds. And so one question I had from the last cruise is, how come you're only calling on people in the first 5 or 6 rows? That's a generalization, but and she answered that very eloquently. But anyway, so thank you, Amanda, for that little gift, and thank you for connecting with her. And it was an experience I'll never forget. But I'll share one more thing. I had dinner. No, I didn't have dinner. I had a drink at the bar. You know, that big bar at the bottom of the boat. They're throwing all these cups up and, making all this fancy show out of it. I was sitting there having a drink, and this guy beside me, and he said, "Hey, how you doing? How you liking the cruise?" And I said, "Are you with anybody?" "No, I'm going solo, but I'm with the Abraham-Hicks people." And so he said, "Who's the Abraham-Hicks? What's the Abraham? Who is that?" And I answered that. I tried to answer it honestly. Oh my God, we ended up talking within 15 minutes. He thought I was the devil. I serious. So I had to just move down a couple seats and just kind of nurse my drink. So what are some of your responses to that? How do you share this with other people that don't know anything about this?
Yeah, and especially on the cruises, if there's other people like non-Abers that ask, sometimes I'll just say, "Oh, we're in it's kind of a self-development. It's about, I might say law of attraction, that it's really about, your thoughts are creating things, and it's all about, the way that you think, you're creating with your thoughts." And then if their eyes glaze over, I stop at that. And sometimes they'll ask more. Sometimes they're open to it. And you just kind of, gauge, okay, are they open? Or are they not? And if not, it's like, it's okay. And I feel like though, too, of course, it's all vibration. So they're also getting the vibration of it. It reminds me though of a Bashar talk that I listened to. And someone had a question about people that would go to, like, say, Jesus. And, some people are fully healed. And Bashar was like, yes, it's all your openness and willingness. If you're open and willing, your vibration will automatically be raised to like meet that vibration of that other person. But if you're not open, then you're not in that receiving mode. So that reminded me of that too. Well, some people on those ship, if they're open to it, they're like, woo, they're going to come off that ship going, what happened? But other people, they might not be open to it. And that's okay. That's their journey. It's where, everyone is in their own place. It's all good.
So that was a question too. I think he mentioned that there was 850 people, Abrahamsters, or I guess you can call them whatever you call them. So 850 people signed up were in the auditorium. Is that the toll? Is that the tally?
I think it usually, that is what they say. It's 800 to 850 that the auditorium will hold. And I think there's like 2,500 people maybe on the ship.
Well, I heard 3,100, but.
Oh, okay. So yeah, maybe this one was bigger.
So around 3,000, that's almost a third of the ship's capacity. That's pretty impressive. One of these days, book a whole cruise, everybody on it is going to be all these kind of mindset people.
Yeah. Yeah. Really good. All right. Anything else you want to share from the cruise?
Just that the last cruise I was just getting into this. I've only, like I said, 3 years maybe, but I'm reading like crazy. Oh, by the way, I read that Sarah book. And I heard what's the Sarah book?
The Sarah book by Abraham. There's like a series of 3 of them. They're actually children's books, but they're really good.
Actually, these are your books. Amanda, that I'm reading.
Oh, yeah. Alan helped me clear out my storage unit. I'm like, take the books.
You gave them to me. So I read
Yeah.
the Sarah book, and it's about a little girl named Sarah and an owl. And I said, oh, that's a little children's book. You know what? But it states it in such a pure simplicity, a beautiful simplicity that I dearly loved. And so that was pretty cool. But since I've read all this stuff and I'm reading like crazy, and I think one of the best things that any of us could have at any time in our lives is develop and train ourselves to have an open mind, and open heart to whatever's going on out there in the world. I want to know the truth. Another thing I'm doing is I'm a scientist by trade. Oh, this is one cool thing I'll share about Amanda.
Oh, great.
Is that I look at this stuff and I want to figure it out. I'm reading books on quantum physics because I think we're getting close to figuring out the science behind law of attraction. And you think there's not science behind law of attraction? Well, yes, there is. Because there's a vibrational state that we're all involved in. Everything has a vibrational resonance about it, everything. And so what are we sending out with our vibrations? We're interacting with everything in the universe to a certain extent. And so I think they're getting close to that. And I'm reading and I'm studying and I'm trying, how does this match up? And I want to ask all these. And Amanda looks at me and says, Alan, just have fun. Or something like that. What do you say?
This was on the cruise. You're like
On the cruise.
reading and like, oh.
You're reading. Stop. Don't try to read into it. You're trying too hard. Just relax and just be there. Anyway, I thought that was a pretty cool response.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm saying that from experience, because when I first got into it too, I was really in my head about it, like, oh, I need to figure this out. Like, I'm just need to do this right, so it really works. And now I realize, oh, I was so in my head, I was creating resistance for myself. So it's easier for me to see now. I'm like, just relax. Like, don't make it so difficult. Just, you're on the cruise, have fun.
It was good advice. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, who else wants to share? Anyone? Let's see. Oh, Christina. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, hi, everybody. I don't recognize very many faces. Some I do, but nice to see you all. I'm Christina from San Antonio, Texas. I think not too far from the Abraham-Hicks headquarters. What I really enjoyed about the cruise, aside from the ship itself, I mean, the ship was beautiful. I loved all the artwork, that hall of mirrors or walkway of mirrors. That was so cool. Just so many things to look at and take in and enjoy the beauty of, right? But in terms of the workshop, I thought that the questions were very, very good. I really enjoyed them. I think it was Grant that came up and had the question, does the personality Grant have input or feedback into the next incarnation? That conversation, I felt, for me, really went off into a really good discussion. And the information that Abraham shared from there was just awesome. And then to me, the next part that really kind of piqued my interest was the multiple incarnations at one time. I really loved all of that conversation. It just, I wanted them to kind of go into more of that because it's just so fascinating to me. But that was some of my favorite things was those I think more in-depth conversations. I think we're getting to a point maybe where we're ready for that, next level, just because it's fascinating. And so, yeah, and then aside from that, it's so great to just feel the energy of everybody that's there with the Abraham-Hicks group. This is my second cruise. I've gone both times by myself, and I don't feel like I'm alone because there's always somebody you're going to bump into and hang out with and have a great time. And then you go on and bump into somebody else. And that's just meeting people that you continue those relationships and friendships with, is just really fun. One of the awesome things I think about just being part of this group. So just wanted to kind of share that. And then I don't know if anybody else was really interested in that topic of the multiple incarnations. That was so fascinating to me. Curious to see what others' thoughts on that are.
Yeah, I really liked that one too. And the recording actually came out today. If you got the audio recording, and I started listening to it again. And so I heard that part again. I'm like, ooh, and it would have been fun to have them do a deeper dive. And there was some conversation. I don't know if it was a part of that one or something else of that, because we think of things as linearly, but you're actually in many incarnations at once. And wow, what if you ran into yourself? I was like, whoa, that's trippy.
What if you're dating yourself? What if you're
Yeah.
dating a version of, what if you're in love? You think you're in love with a person of who they are, but they're just another version of you. No wonder I like you so much.
Yes. That's really good.
Christine, I loved what you said about going alone, because I know that same feeling. And one of the fun things was walking into the room with the buffet and getting food, and then looking around and feeling, if they didn't have a name badge on, feeling for the Abraham people and sitting down with the perfect people to have lunch or dinner with. That was always, it's like, even though we were 1/4 of the ship, it felt like we were much bigger than that.
And something I remember my first cruise, it was in 2018, and I went by myself also. I did the roommate match. And my roommate that I got matched up with, one of the things she told me at the very beginning, she said, just watch the people you resonate with, you will see them everywhere. You will keep running into the same people. And it is so true. And there was another guy from this cruise, and he was actually there with his grandma. His name is Evan, and this was his first cruise. And I told him that we talked on that first night, and I said, you just wait. You'll keep running into the same people. And we started making a joke about it, because I'm like, we'd be somewhere in line. There you are. We'd be on an excursion. There you are. There you are. There you are. Like, there's something about our energy that is just, resonating, because we're running into each other everywhere. Yeah, that is really fun. It's so fun to see all of these things. It's like, you're living it. It's not just you're listening about it or you're reading about it. You're living it, and you're seeing it play out in this beautiful, magical way on the cruise. And always it's, everywhere in your life. But I feel like on the cruise, it's even magnified.
Speaking of that, Amanda, another question to ask people if they want to share, obviously share about your cruise experience. Share about any manifestations that have happened to you in the last couple of weeks. Those are fun to hear if you want to share those. And if you think it was partly related to or all related to what happened on the cruise, feel free to share that.
I'll share something.
Okay.
When I had a last cruise last year and this Caribbean thing, I I just wanted to be on the beach. I haven't been on the beach in a while. I'm a scuba diver and all that jazz. And anyway, so I just wanted to get on the beach. I want to get my sand and my feet in the sand and in the water and snorkeling and everything. So I signed up for this. I mentioned it one other time, but I don't think anybody on this thing has heard it. I signed up for just get me on the beach. I'll figure it out. So I got on the beach. I signed up for this last minute excursion, and a bunch of really old people. They were almost as old as I am. And they get out there, and the chairs are stacked together, and they partition the beach off. It's just not what I imagined. And I had this image in my brain as to what I wanted. And I said, I'm going to go shopping. So I went shopping, and a taxi driver comes up, and he says, can I take you somewhere? And I said, do you have any better beaches than this one? He said, "I just the place." He took me to Orient Beach. That was on St. Martin. That was the first layover, the first stop. Turned out to be magic, and it just like I had it in my brain. He picks me up, get back to the boat, almost miss my, almost but I don't have my phone. So he takes me back to where we went off, and I found my phone, and I'm so exasperated that I found my phone in the ground, laying on the ground on the side of the road. And so I'm such in this high state of gratitude. And I get back and I say, you know what? I'm gonna win some money at the table tonight. And so I go there. I told myself I'm gonna turn $100 into 400. So I get there and I start playing. I played 3 rounds on Texas Hold'em, and the third hand, I played for the first time. I played trips or better, and I won. I had a royal straight for the first time in my life. That $5 won me $5,000. And I stepped back and I said, "What the heck?" And then I went down. I had me a bourbon. I had a great conversation with another guy at the bar that night. And I'm saying, "What just happened?" It was a few months later that I realized it was my extreme. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. It was just calm. I was so calm about it. But my state of gratitude, my extreme high state of gratitude and appreciation is what put me there, I think. But on this cruise, I try to duplicate it, right? It doesn't always work that way. And I was playing, I was losing money and this and that. So I said, you know what? It's not up to me to play correctly. It's not up to me I'm just going to enjoy it. Just let it go and just have fun. The next hand, I had a straight flush. It was a jack high straight flush. How often does that happen? And I won about $2,500. Now, then I said, you know what? I'm pretty good at this manifesting thing. And I tried and I tried and I tried. I lost all of that plus about $1,000 more. So I'm wondering, wait a minute, scratching my head going, Alan, it doesn't work quite like that. So anyway, that was my manifestation thing with finances. But I do think that when I sit down, I got a local poker group that I play with. I notice that when we play together, if I just want to have fun, I'm just there to have fun, I win. And the other guys they're just relaxed, like Kevin, for example, he wins when he's relaxed. There's other guys that are stoic, they're just reserved, they're just grumpy about something, they're on their phones, they're not in the moment. They're the losers.
Mhm.
So there is that, I think, for me at least, I see it very obviously, very blatantly in a poker game. If you just sort of have fun and relax, and if you lose it all, fine. You just sort of have fun. Generally, you can have a better chance of winning because your vibration is set.
Yeah.
And even if you do lose, you still had fun.
I know that you're
You win. Mhm. Oh, go ahead.
exactly right, because when I lose, whatever money, I said, I had a great time. I'm not going to win every time, but I had, I chatted with some people, I made some friends, I had fun, so it was worth it's worth every penny of it. So I never regret anything that I lose, but it can be a learning experience. But there is something to that, and I'm going to master that one of these days.
Master it.
That's awesome. Looks like Michael just came off mute. Did you want to share something, Michael? Maybe not. If you want to share, raise your hand physically or use the Zoom hand and Amanda will unmute you.
Oh,
Looks like
yeah, Bob.
Yeah, there we go. Everybody hear me? Yeah.
Mhm.
Good, good. No, I just wanted to share something on that other topic that Alan had just mentioned, and that comes down to something that we've been at this for quite a while. It's a matter of learning to not be attached to the outcome. So when we're not attached, in other words, if we're just like you said, we're just having fun. We're just having fun. It doesn't matter what the outcome, we're having fun. And that's why when you're in that frame of mind, things will always work out better because you don't have that, because the minute we're attached to what happens, then the vibration is completely different. We have an anxious vibration, and we hurt our chances of a better outcome. So that's the thing of being able to let go and know that it's great to have a particular thing in mind, but whether it happens or not, I know I'm going to feel good either way. That's yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like it's part of that fine tuning of your vibration, of noticing anytime you're in resistance, such as when you're attached to an outcome, you can feel that resistance, whether it's, you know, a little bit of anxiousness or whatever it is. And I feel like it's a continual refinement of that, of, oh, how can I how can I relax and release resistance?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. It's because you're in the receptive mode. There's no resistance.
Mhm. Yeah. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Bob, for sharing that. Also notice the bridge behind you. Are you in San Francisco?
Not just a virtual screen. We're down in Miami, but I like that. I like that picture. I think it's San Francisco. Yeah. Golden Gate.
Golden Gate Bridge, yeah.
Okay, Catherine, and then we'll go to Missy. Oh, go ahead, unmute. Oh, there we go. Hello.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay. So
yeah.
I am okay. Might be a little bit windy. I'm in Costa Rica, and yeah. So I need to disconnect soon, but I wanted to use the opportunity to talk before I have to disconnect. And I wanted to say that this was my first cruise, and I'm new to Abraham, maybe like 2 years or 3 years. And I went with a friend that introduced me to Abraham. And I'm a very open person, and I'm open to everything, but I also trust a lot myself with how I feel. So I think I've been very good at that, at feeling. And I always felt when I watched the Abraham videos, very aligned and very good. I would use it almost when I'm down. I just watch an Abraham video and I immediately feel like, oh my God, I feel so good. So for me, going to the cruise was a miracle. Like, it was beyond what I could have dreamed. I would say it's up there in one of my top experiences in my life. It changed me forever. It showed me possibilities I couldn't imagine. It awoken my vitality in me. I was numb. I thought I was okay, but I wasn't okay. Now I see the contrast. I could see that there's another possibility. And I love that new possibility. And I'm so happy to be feeling so alive thanks to that experience. Like, literally my body was vibrating. It was so hard for me to go to sleep because I felt, pardon me, but I felt I was in constant orgasm all the time. Like, I was like, oh my God, like, I feel like I haven't felt such a sexual energy in me awaken in such a long time. And I saw, and I believe everything is so true, because all the questions that I had were answered through all the people that asked the questions. I'm a big animal lover. Someone asked for animals. I'm going through something in my 10-year relationship, and I'm in that crossroad. And someone asked that question about, relationship. It's like everything was very, very specific. Like, I couldn't believe it. I can believe it. Of course, that's why it happened. But I'm just so amazed, and I'm so excited for life, because what I can see is what can happen. Like, if 1 week could change my life just like that, what could happen? I don't want a week to pass without feeling that something is moving within me. I want to feel vital, and I'm committed to feeling this good. And okay, just to finish how amazing this was. My friend and I, Catherine, her name is Catherine and my name is Catherine, and we were together in this cruise. And at the beginning of our journey, we said, let's write down one word about something we want to see constantly in this cruise. So I wrote my word, which was blue butterfly morpho. Like, it's a very traditional Costa Rican butterfly. I don't know if it's everywhere, but. And then she wrote her word, And I let go. The first 2 days I was expectant. I was like, where is it? Where's my blue? But then I let go and oh my God, I kept looking blue butterflies everywhere. Like I would be in the solarium and this girl was journaling and she had like a journal with blue butterflies. Like everywhere I kept looking at the beautiful blue butterflies. When I exit, I see this girl dressed in a beautiful dress, like a blue morpho butterfly. I met this girl that had like a whole, how to say, like long pants with butterflies everywhere, things that like are not very traditionally. Then I exit the cruise and I go to my Airbnb and my whole room was blue. And then there was a huge blue butterfly in the main door entering to my Airbnb. Like, come on. And then the last one, which blew my mind in excitement, was when I was entering Costa Rica. I see a very grumpy custom lady. She was very grumpy and mean to everyone. And I see she was doing her nails like this in the desk. And I jump and I said, you have blue butterflies in your nails. Like how many people you see that have like very specific morpho blue butterfly in her nails. And I said, I need to take a picture. You don't understand how special this is. And she started laughing. Like, so just my excitement changed her whole attitude just because for me, that was something that was so mundane for someone else was so exciting for me. And so I just wanted to say that I did experience in so many levels the magic. And I just so excited for everyone to experience this because the world could not be a bad world if we all connect with excitement, right? If everybody is excited, how can life be boring? Like even if we're down, someone else will like bring us up just by being around them. Like, so yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And that reminds me of a couple of things. And you mentioned like the sexual energy. And again, I was listening. One of my favorite hot seats too was Pepper, John. A lot of you know John Pepper. He's been on many cruises and many hot seats. And he got in the hot seat and he was like, sometimes in meditation and sometimes even not in meditation, he's feeling like this sexual energy. And it is like there can be this Kundalini energy that gets activated and it does feel sexual. And it's just, it's just that energy moving, another way that we can feel it. And it is really amazing.
Yes, I want to say that then I look like Abraham on YouTube, and then with the topic of sexuality, which she touched that topic lightly in the cruise, and she basically said sexuality is being alive. You should be feeling sexual, like, and then what I watched in a video on YouTube is just she says feeling sexual is feeling aligned. So we should be feeling sexual. Like I don't know if all of us, but it's a good measure of alignment.
Yes, yeah. But it's a good thing. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, let's go to Missy.
Do I do this?
Okay, say something else. I can. Oh, wait, you're muted again. Oh, you're still muted. I don't think I can unmute you. Oh, it won't should let you unmute. I heard you. You should be able to just hit your unmute button in the bottom left corner. Okay.
Now I got it.
Oh,
yay.
Awesome.
New iPad, sorry. I just want to say that when you were talking about running into the same people, hi Noreen. Noreen and I first time we met, and everywhere we went, we would walk into each other. We'd be going on an excursion and we'd be there. And it was real interesting because the last night I walked around the corner in one of the stores and there she is. And we had the best conversation to just see how similar our lives, were. And it coming back has been real interesting, that staying on that high vibration. There's just been endless synchronicities or winky dinks, whatever you want to call them, happening. And I am a member of AA, and in my home group, what was real funny is I was gone and somebody came back and they're like, "Where's Missy? She's always here." And they said, "Oh, she's off on some hippie cruise." And yeah, my kids kind of said the same. They're like, "Yeah, that's what we told people." They're like, "Did she go alone?" And they said, "Well, no, she's making friends." And they're like, "Well, what kind of cruise is it?" "It's a hippie cruise." So, but yeah, the synchronicities, the manifesting, it's still happening. And the connections that I made were just phenomenal. So, and I don't feel like I'm going to be 67 next month. I feel like I'm going to be 17. And
yeah.
so,
Yeah.
anyhow, that's what I've experienced.
Amazing. That's so good. And it reminds me too, another friend that I met on the cruise afterwards, he said, life will never be the same. And I was like, oh, that is so true. And when you do, like, okay, I'm different, and we're always different. We're always vibrationally changing, but especially with something like this, like, oh, life is brand new. It will never be the same. And also consciously stepping into that of, oh, even if I go back, it's maybe the same people, it's different because you're different, and really leaning into that. Yeah, really good. Thank you. Okay, Andre. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
I'm sorry. Hola.
There you go.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, Amanda. Thanks for sharing this chat. My name is Andres Garcia from Colombia.
Oh, nice.
It's
Well,
nice.
next year we'll be going to your country.
Yeah, it's gonna be an incredible travel to go to Panama and the opportunity to know a beautiful city like is Cartagena. It's really, really interesting. Well, this was my second cruise, my second experience, and I am so happy to see a lot of familiar face, in this opportunity. I found some friends that I made the last time, and I make new friends that I see here in this chat, like Michael, like Tanya, like another people, friendly people, beautiful people. So it was an amazing experience. I want to say that the Abraham conscience, that frequency changed my life definitely. I When I returned to my country, I am a secretary of culture, and I found a lot of problems because when I was traveling, things happen. But the way that I see changed. So I think that is wonderful because the contracts still, but the way that you can confront or you can um, manage the problems is very different because now I know that I am synchronized with the truth, and that's helped a lot. Since when I wake up, and when I return to my bed. So I want to share this. When you change, everything changes around
Yeah.
you, and that is so
Mhm.
powerful. And it's what's great to 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 comprove to see how can I manage my answer. Sorry, my dog. Jóvenes,
They're agreeing.
venga para acá, venga para acá. Sorry. Well, and another thing that I want to share is I lost my mom. She passed away 2 months ago. And when I was in this experience with Abraham, the most of question that I had was resolved with the people that go there and share their experience. And when Abraham was talking, I was feeling that I need to hear that. And I was with my partner, Jose, and all the time he was doing, listen, listen, this answer is for you. It's for you. Yes, I feel it. So just love from Colombia. I hope that we can fund in the next year, in the next cruise, and all the best. This is a big group. This is an amazing people, and I really know that we can keep connected because we are in the same frequency. Love.
Yeah. Yes,
That was
absolutely.
beautiful.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you sharing, and so sorry about your loss. That was one of the things that Abraham said that I instantly changed me, because I lost my dad last year. And often when I think of him, I was feeling sad. And Abraham said, when you think of someone, it's not that you're just magically thinking of them, it's because they are communicating with you. And when I heard that, very cute, Doug. When I heard that, it instantly changed. Every time I think of my father now, it's like, oh, he's communicating with me. I think about my mom who passed years ago, my sister, they're communicating, and instantly it's a different feeling. Instantly it's a sense of receiving instead of grieving.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks for saying that. Thanks
And
for
there,
saying that.
it felt like to me, there were some new things, and maybe Abraham has talked about this in other workshops recently, but how Esther is communicating with Jerry through writing. And I don't remember if they called it automatic writing, but that's what it felt like to me, is that when she specifically wants to connect with Jerry's energy, she sits down and writes either with her hand or gets on the computer and types out. And it's almost like a conversation with Jerry. And that was really fun. I hadn't heard them talk about it that way in quite
Yeah,
that.
and right now, dear Amanda, I remember when Abraham say, when you miss your parent, you are disconnected, because we are still connected, and that was an amazing statement, and I keep it all the time, because the frequency and the synchronized never ends.
Yes. And something else they said, and this was something that came through Jerry to Esther, Jerry from the other side, is that Esther, there are no words that can describe, like, you think I loved you then. The love that is here for you is undescribable. And words can't even describe it. So even thinking of that in that way with your mom, of like the love that she had for you here, but the love that she has for you now is just exponentially, and just she's showering you with that love.
Thank you. I feel her all the time in the cruise, in the talks, in the restaurants, in the party, in the pool, always. So I want to keep that that feeling, and to continue in this frequency, and that happened with we are my conscience grow and an awakeness to the graceful, to the goodness, to the all the good things that the universe gives to us. So if we still in that frequency, everything is perfect. Things are always working out for me. Things are always working out for us.
Yes. Yes.
True.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. And something else I will mention that I really appreciated, and something you said reminded me of it. The cruise director, oh my gosh, he was Dominican. Like some people, they were like, how about the silent disco? I'm like, oh my gosh, the Latin night we had on the ship. Everyone was dancing.
Yeah.
And then the dance party up on the pool deck. It was like, and then the dancers from the shows came out with like solid gold dancers and the cruise director. I mean, he had everyone out there. It was so good. I saw him when I left the ship and I was like, you're the best cruise director ever.
Yeah, I agree. It was
really good.
wonderful. The energy, the smile, the hugs, the music, the shows, the food. It was like a system, and everything was synchronized, and it was beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I hope he's on the ship next year.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Oh.
All the love from Colombia.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else want to share? Or even if you have a question. Yes. Oh, Michael, go ahead.
Hey,
There you go.
I don't have a question, but you just got me excited for the next year's cruise. Like all of a sudden, because I would be so excited to be back there next year and see the same familiar, wonderful faces and the excellent service from those people. Like Andres, my friend from Colombia, he said it like everything was perfect. And I love great service. I love great service so much. And everywhere, all over that cruise was incredible service. I mean, every morning I would wake up and go get 2 waters and 2 coffees, Americanos from the Baccio bar. And they were so fast and those coffees were so good. And the sommeliers made amazing recommendations for the food pairings and the service and the smile from the Turkish guy in the petite chef. That place with I still remember their names. I remember their names and their faces, and you just got me so excited, Amanda, for next year on the Panama cruise. If we get the same people, the same staff, how great that would be.
Yeah, and that's something too that the staff always comments too of like, you guys are so happy. What are you doing? Are you taking drugs in there?
Yeah,
It's like,
I'm
no,
sure.
yeah, natural high.
I'm sure they love us. Lots of reasons to love us for sure. One of the things that surprised me was how differently people heard things or didn't hear things that Abraham said, myself included. I didn't know she told us to applaud the older woman who wanted to transition. I just thought we did it. I just thought we just got up and did it. So I found every time I met with someone and we debriefed like the last session, there were things missed that I missed, that they missed, or that they heard, or that I heard so differently. I found that so fascinating and cool. I got probably 20 pages of notes, more like 10. But I loved I loved the dinners and the meetings afterwards and meeting people. And I had prepared maybe 5 questions for Abraham. And it was my first cruise, but my third workshop or my third Abraham event. And I got in the hot seat my first time, my first event first. And I had all these questions, and a lot of them got answered, thankfully. But some of them are still kind of not answered, really. And I think I'd like to go back and just meditate maybe and check with myself on those questions that didn't get answered, and just find out what the answers are, or what the difference is, because I feel like the higher up you go, the more clarity you can get. And I think I got, questions on some of them. Heather Drake, what were my questions? Well, okay, one of my questions was something about paths of least resistance. Hold on, I might go off camera for a second. I'm gonna go look at them. Paths of least resistance. I had a good question about why we attract scams, because I deal with money as a financial advisor and I see a lot of people getting scammed. So I know that, like, why do we attract scams? I'm sure it's for the contrast and for the learning and stuff like that. I'm sure that that's the answer, but I want to know more. Like, when I first got into law of attraction, it was like 2012 and I really got into it really deep. And I thought, I'm going to manifest $400,000. That was the number that came to me, $400,000. Well, I got scammed out of 10 grand because I thought that 10 grand would take me to 400. I know I needed that experience to learn about the due diligence. But yeah, that was one of my questions. Why do we attract scams? There's another question about paths of least resistance. Like, how many paths are there? Or are there more than one path? Or is the path an ever evolving path of least? Oh, are there paths of lesser and lesser resistance? I thought that was a good one. Now I think there's resistance serves a purpose. Maybe you can, or someone can add more about that.
And I feel like there are many paths, and and I feel like it is always changing based on the energy. You do something and the energy changes. And so, and I feel like also, and it's never right or wrong. Whatever step you take, your inner being, infinite intelligence, is right there of like, okay, we're gonna line up the next thing for you. You didn't take that path. Okay, you did this. Let's line up that energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my opinion anyway.
That's cool. Well, I had a great time. I had an amazing time, and I feel the differences in things. I feel I'm more sensitive, almost like more sensitive. Like I was hanging out with someone the other day and they were talking about a topic I didn't want to talk about. And I just didn't want to be there. I just wanted to leave or change the subject ASAP.
Yes, and that can be very true. And I've even heard from a few friends that afterwards, especially on the first cruise, afterwards they might even feel some physical illness.
Oh, I had that.
And I've heard, actually, I've heard Dr. Joe talk about this, because this happens a lot at Dr. Joe retreats. The vibration gets raised so high, and you're in that high vibration, that then the physical part of you, your body, goes through a catching up process. And sometimes you can get some physical sensations that can feel like flu or cold. And I always like to tell people, it's just an upgrade. You're getting an upgrade. It's all good. And your body's just adjusting to the new energy. And it doesn't always have to be that way. I feel like that happens less and less for me, but I have had that happen where after a cruise, I'm like, oh, I just need to let my body like kind of catch up to some of this.
For the first like 4 days, I went, and I know a few other people as well, went through like and now I think it's more like this now. And I almost think there should be like a post-cruise remedy, or like a post-cruise detox or something like that. What to expect post-cruise or post-first cruise. If you have that or you want to create that, I'm sure a lot of us could use it.
Yeah. I don't have it, but yeah, I'll have to think about that.
Yeah, what to expect after your first cruise.
Yes, yeah. Lots of fun, lots of manifestations.
Yeah.
And it is, and I think it is too, like, reminding yourself, staying in that of nothing is the same. Everything is different. Everything is new, because there can be, Abraham talked a lot about tracks on this cruise. And so, that you've changed your trajectory, but it can be, you get in that old vibration, you get in that old situation, and like feeling that pull, like the old, like, no, it's new. I want to stay in this new trajectory. I'm going in a new direction.
Yeah, like I was this person I was hanging out with the other day is a very, very good friend of mine. And prior to the cruise, we would hang out often. And it was always great. There were things I noticed that his vibration was a little, lower in some areas, and I just kind of whatever skirted around it or whatever. But now that I'm post cruise, it's like, oh no, we're not the same. We're not the
Yes.
same. We're not vibing on the same level anymore. I'm on like not, not better or worse, but just a different level, like a different level. And it's like I'm not there anymore. What do? I gotta like attract new friends again or something.
Yeah, and I think this is a good thing to notice too, because I feel like a lot of people go through this, and I know I've gone through it. That you can't, and as you said, you feel more sensitive, so you're more sensitive to people talking about negative things or subjects that don't feel good. And in the beginning, it can be repelling, like, no, I don't want to talk about that. And again, nothing has gone wrong, but as you get more steady in your vibration, it kind of evens out, and you'll be able to be around more people, more of those things, and not be triggered by it. Andy and I have been talking about this a lot, because there's the temptation to put the happy face sticker and the happy face bubble around yourself of, no, I'm not going to look at any of that. And that may serve you for a while. You may go through a period of that. But then I feel like once your vibration gets steady, you're like, no, let me just take a look. And I can stay steady and be in these, different situations.
Mm.
Yeah.
Can I add something to that, Amanda?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's easy to fall in the trap of judging someone else
Yes.
versus feeling a preference.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
The judgment is resistance. They're wrong for being where they
Right.
are. They're wrong for watching TV, or they're
Mhm.
wrong for listening to this, or whatever it is. That judgment versus, I prefer this. I like this. And then start to bask around that. That's one of the things I noticed, that the preferences, the nuances, and trusting yourself enough that if you are around someone who's lower vibration, it's not going to kick your ass off of your high flying disc. It may knock you a little bit, but you'll trust that you'll be able to get back on it. Trust if you're exposed to some things, noise or whatever you prefer not to be exposed to, that you are different now.
Yeah.
You have more tools, consciously and unconsciously, to get back to feeling good.
Yeah. And
Mm.
I feel like that's a really good point too, and one point Abraham said at the end of one of the discussions, the difference between opinion and intention. And it's kind of that same thing of like, no, that they're wrong. And, this is the way it should be. Instead, like, oh, that's not my preference there. And again, realizing everyone's on their own journey. Nothing's right or wrong. And you get to choose your preference. Yeah, so really good. Okay, Tanya, I feel like you've had your hand raised for a long time. Go ahead.
Hi,
Okay.
everyone. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Really great, really great. It's really funny actually. So I feel like I'm back at the cruise where, I've had my hand up for a little bit, and everything that I've been wanting to talk about just literally got handled in conversation. So, first to start, with the getting sick once I got back. And so you actually answered that for me, which I mean, I didn't even associate that to being after the cruise. This was my very, very first cruise, which thanks to Michael, I had the opportunity to experience Abraham. I had listened to her in the past, and still obviously continue to listen to her, but it was the first workshop that I ever been to and the first cruise. And wow, like wow. Just I didn't know what to expect, to be honest with you, because it was my first time. And after coming back and, getting over my cold and all of that, I definitely had life come at me in some ways that I recognize, like the wow comes in how I have shown up in that and how I've handled it has been so different than prior to the cruise. And there's this sense of just, I mean, there's an excitement. I mean, I've always been a pretty happy, excited, full of life individual, but I definitely have noticed a huge difference in my non-reactiveness to situations that I've been confronted with since coming back, with things that would usually trigger me instantly, or people that would have me just be triggered. And it's just been, yeah, one of the things I really want to acknowledge as a takeaway that I have had. And yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for what else is, coming, and to be a part of more of these cruises. This was amazing. It was amazing. Thank you. It was so wonderful to meet so many new people, and yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
It is
Everyone.
addictive because just it feels so good on the cruise. I remember, and sometimes people still ask me that, why do you go on so many of these cruises? Haven't you figured it out? And it really is, it's the people. It feels so good to be surrounded by like-minded people. And I love the format of it too, of we have the workshops, but I feel like you're not missing anything. The workshops are fun. And then the rest of the time, they say just go out and have fun. They're not saying now go meditate, now go journal, do this, do this, do this. They're like, go out and live it. Go out and have fun.
Well, I experienced, like, for me, I can understand now why people would want to or get hooked on it, because
Mhm.
your vibration just raises to a level that I would imagine you can't do solo. Because when you do something like that collectively, it's like anything else. When you do it collectively, it's tenfold, which was the experience that I got, right? At least that's my observation of it, right? And my experience of it. So I can understand the addiction.
Yes. It's a good addiction, I think.
100%. 100%. I mean, if you let me, I could sit here and talk all night about all the things that I'll give other people opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you as well.
Okay.
And I think, Tanya, it is often easier with like-minded people pinging off of each other, the atoms pinging off of each other, and boom, 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 even one other person. And we have heard, even tonight, I think Catherine said it, and John Pepper said it on the cruise during his meditation, people have gotten to some pretty high-flying orgasmic states, showing us what's possible alone. That possible energy can come up within us.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
Thank you.
Okay. We're about at time. Does anyone have any last questions or comments? Bob, go ahead.
Yeah, one more thing I'd like to add, having been on many of these kind of cruises and some other ones for some other groups that I have, you have two things are operating always: the mastermind effect, which in general, that's why I like meetings like this, where we have that mastermind effect on a meeting. The energy and the vibrations get multiplied many times. It's like it's kind of like one horse pulls a wagon. It's 1 horsepower. Well, two horses pull the wagon. It multiplies to around 5, and so forth and so on. So anytime you're with a big group, it's fantastic. The other thing is that some people might not be aware of is that when you're at sea, in general, there are no obstructions because you're in the ocean. So especially when you are sailing, that's one thing that makes all cruises fun. You've got the vibrations move much quicker and faster because it's an open environment. There's no obstructions out at sea. So that's one thing I'd like to add that makes cruises, especially with a group of like-minded people that do what we do. That's the other element that just makes a cruise fantastic. Yeah.
It is fantastic. Fantastic. And the more, sometimes people will say to me, well, I don't have people in my area that I can talk to about this stuff. Well, you will find the more that you're living it, you will just start to attract those people, or you'll start to convert people like I converted Alan. But you will, the more you're living it, you're vibrating at that, you will meet more and more people that are like-minded. And it will just, it will happen organically, and reach out. There are groups like this, there are in-person groups, there are online groups, and it's a great way to connect with people in between things like this. I also have a mastermind group that meets, and it's great to just stay in that vibration and keep reminding yourself of that, you are source, you're creating all the time with your vibration, your thoughts, your emotions. And it's really powerful. We're all so powerful, and we all have the ability to do this. Yeah, really good. Okay, well, thank you again so much for being here, for your energy. And, and that was one of the things that Esther said to me. She said, it's really about all of you that come. It's the energy that you bring. It's the co-creation. And with this call too, it's the co-creation of the collective energy here. So thank you so much for being here. Okay. All right. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.